Toxic Masculinity. Weekdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.
All right, let's read the next story. What do we get?
Well, woman who pushes white bitch into path of oncoming bus was just having a bad day.
Oh, right, that's right. Yes.
So if you're having a bad day,
having a bad day is what they
you
say.
can just push.
Now, this happened in London in the UK, so this isn't actually American news, but this is insane. So this woman had some kind of an argument or a dispute with an old lady. This is so an old white lady and a 40-year-old black woman in London, and they're in a grocery store called Tesco's, which I used to go to Tesco's when I lived in London. So apparently this black woman thought that the old lady had sort of like knocked into her son or something like that, or she'd been somehow disrespected. I'm sure at some point the words, "Oh no, you didn't," came out at some point. Anyway, so she got really angry, right, at this old white lady, and she like starts threatening her and all this kind of stuff. She follows her out of the store. The old white lady's trying to get away from her, and this 40-year-old black woman pushes the old lady in front of a bus. Like, this is like attempted murder we're talking about here. And so they go to court, and the judge says, well, I feel like she was just having a bad day. You know, she doesn't have any prior arrests. She's obviously a very good person.
Oh, they're just insane.
Oh, it's insane. It's insane. If it had been a white person pushing an old black person in front of a bus, there would be rioting in the streets. We live in a world now that is completely racist against white people. Mm-hmm. Even other white people are racist against white people. It's actually kind of hard for me to process that we've come this far. You know, when I was growing up, I knew there was a little bit of antipathy toward white people. You know, it was kind of going in that direction. But I thought people were sensible enough that it wouldn't become like outright racism. But here we are, you know, even in a court of law. This is what they're actually talking about when they refer to something like systemic racism, right? This is the system, the judicial system in the UK, actively being actively prejudiced against somebody for their race.
Is the article said who was the judge? The name of the judge?
I don't think so. There's a prosecutor. Blah 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 blah.
Well, I don't really care about the name. I care about the color.
I don't know what the judge's color was. British Judge Sally Cahill. I have no idea if that's it's a woman. I can tell you that.
Oh, you can't say that. You can't say that.
She's white. She's white. I'm looking at pictures of her. She's white. She's a woman racked with white guilt who hates herself because of her whiteness. And I don't know. I don't know why you would do this. I mean, they've so this black woman has got off without really any kind of punishment. She's just been let go, essentially. And yeah, and there's been a lot of these kinds of attacks against Trump supporters, against white people, you know, for being white or for being a Trump supporter recently, and it's gotten pretty ugly lately. I don't know how you fix that in society. I've had an idea about racism against white people for quite some time now. The idea is this. It hurts some white people. It hurts the individual white person who people are racist against. But more importantly, it actually hurts the black community more.
It is, yes.
And my theory kind of goes something like this. If you're a black kid and you're growing up in a black community and all your black peers and your parents and your teachers are all saying, don't trust white people are bad, it's going to limit your opportunities in life, right? Because sure, white people probably aren't the most successful demographic. You have demographics that are very successful, right? Jewish people, Chinese people are more successful than white people on average. But there's just so many white people. America is, I think, something like 60% white, right? So most of the wealthy people, most of the business owners, most of the successful people are white. You have a lot of poor white people too. We have a lot of rich white people. And if you come from a community that is disproportionately poor, right? The black community is disproportionately poor. You're going to want to interact with white business owners, right? To get a good job, to move ahead in life. And if you're constantly telling your kids or your neighbors or your students or whatever it is, don't trust white people, hate white people, you are limiting their opportunities. So, I think that this should always be presented as something that's bad for black people. And I always think about it that way, and I just don't feel like anybody else does. Nobody feels like being racist against white people in America is bad for black people. They look at it as some kind of a war between the races. And I think that's a terrible way to look at it. Who's more racist than who, that kind of stuff. I think it's obvious who's more racist than who, but who does that hurt really at the end? At the end of the day,
Black people.
Yeah, I think it hurts black people more than it hurts white people. So
especially after all of this stuff that happens with protest.
Yeah. Who's gonna go start a business in a black neighborhood now? Do you want your business destroyed within 10 to 15 business days? Go ahead and move down to Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. You will be sure to have that thing burned and destroyed quickly. Just wait until some unarmed black kid gets killed by a cop, or so they say, and you are sure to have your business destroyed. People don't, it's just the way things are now. It's terrible. It's terrible. Racism against white people hurts black people, and it shouldn't. Let's just stop racism, okay? Why is it so hard? Is it so hard? We had kind of pretty much cleaned it all up by the 90s. It was more or less good by then, and it just started ramping up. You don't remember because you weren't alive yet, but
Thank you.
My wife is very young. All right, do we have anything else? Do you want to start reading questions?
No, we do not have anything else.
We are out of news stories, ladies and gentlemen, but I will read some of your comments. So if you have something to say about the news of the day, please let us know. And, this is a new channel, so we don't have any super chats or anything like that. We will not be taking your money, but I'll try to find some good questions and good comments, and I will respond to them here and now.
Toxic Masculinity. Weekdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.